The ancient and global story of Cinderella, a tale full of hatred, revenge, and self mutilation. Welcome to Check That Book, a special place on the internet where we get acquainted with arguably the most disturbing pieces of literature ever written, and occasionally we take a look at fairy tale origins because, mind you, fairy tales have some of the sickest and most twisted original concepts that I do my best to dissect a wee bit on this channel. Hi, my name's Ro. I'm a self published author and a poet who is also into the unnerving. On this channel, yes, I mean, if you've been around for quite some time, then you know that we introduce ourselves to unorthodox literature and film adaptations. Speaking of which, as you might have guessed from the thumbnail to this video, yes, I will mention The Ugly Stepsister towards the end because I'm fresh from watching this film. I have some thoughts. Who doesn't know the story of Aschenputtel? I hope I pronounced it right. Yes, Aschenputtel, literally Ash Girl. You might know the Disney version and some of the older tales that you've been told by your nana. Why not? It was my favorite fairy tale growing up, um, for various reasons. Not favorite because, I mean, I was always in for the final part that yes, yes, girl, you get what you deserve for the suffering that you've been put through. And yeah, believing in miracles and justice, all of that fun stuff. But yes, growing up, not only do you get disillusioned that there is no fairy godmother who'll come and save you, but if you're someone like me who likes to dig deeper into the original story, then yeah. And if you seek disturbing, trust you me, you will find it. The young girl named Aschenputtel, or Cinderella, let's call her that, was forced to sleep among the ashes near the fireplace and wear rags. Her father, though still alive, did nothing to stop the cruelty. When Cinderella asked for a simple gift from her father, a branch that brushed against his hat on his journey, he gave it to her. She planted it in her mother's grave, and her tears watered it daily. From the grave grew a magical hazel tree, which became her place of solace. You might be asking, Ro, what hazel tree? What the actual fuck are you talking about? This doesn't sound like anything we know, right? Let me continue. Because in order to understand the disturbingness of the story, I kind of need to tell it. So each day, Cinderella would pray beneath the tree, and a white bird would bring her anything she wished. Then one day the king held a ball for his son to find a bride. The stepsisters were invited, and from here on forth, you are most likely familiar with the story. Cinderella couldn't go because her stepmother gave her a set of impossible tasks to perform. But 3 nights of the ball came. Each night, the girl went to her mother's grave and wished for clothes. The bird dropped down a golden gown and slippers, and Cinderella dazzled the court. The prince tried to follow her home each night, but she vanished. And yes, the ball was held for 3 nights in a row in the original story, not one. And one night, the prince would purposefully smear one of the stairs in order for Cinderella's slipper, to get purposefully stuck. And thus he would be able to find her later on. That's so idiotic. I mean, don't get me wrong, in the story that we grew to know and love, it's also quite idiotic, but that's just my personal opinion. I mean, are you really that stupid? I'm sorry, I have to vent here. Are you really that stupid? Or you have like a fish memory or something that you don't remember? You couldn't remember the girl's face. Really now? You've got to be joking. This is the part that always drew me mad, regardless of the version of the story, but we're not here for that. That was just me venting a bit because of this. This is stupidity. But let's continue. So Cinderella does lose her slipper, and the stepsisters do get all hot and bothered about it because the prince is going to pick his bride based on. Yeah. The stepsisters. They were desperate. The first cut off her toe to make the shoe fit. The second sliced her heel to make the shoe fit. The prince fooled took each in turn until the white bird sang its song and Aschenputtel, also known as Cinderella, could try on the slipper. And it fit. The prince only then recognized her and they married. But at the wedding, the birds pecked out the eyes of the two stepsisters, punishing them for their cruelty. Blinded, they lived out their days in misery. What a happy go lucky story, you guys. Indeed. Well, need I mention the disturbing aspects? Right. Mutilation and ignorance from Cinderella's father, mind you. I am very, very pissed because in the original story, her father is very much alive. I can't imagine why didn't he take any action. What's the story supposed to teach us? Again, much like with my video on Snow White, the link for the entire list of the disturbing fairy tale origins will be in the description below. Make sure to check them out. I highly suggest. How could I have said anything else? So, anyway, yes, this is maddening how I couldn't find anything that this fairy tale was supposed to teach us. And also, yeah, disturbing. I mean, the birds pecking out the eyes of the stepsisters, and can you really blame them? They just wanted to marry the prince. I mean, many girls do. It's understandable. But yeah, okay. One can argue the poor treatment of Cinderella, but isn't the father equally to blame here? Because I just don't see how is he not guilty. He's equally as, if not more. The French Perrault's version, which came later, introduced fairy godmother to the story and a gentler ending, as well as the glass slipper. Do you like mine? It's actually, it's, yeah. There was a similar story in ancient Egypt where a slave girl's sandal is carried by an eagle to the pharaoh who seeks her out. Also, later in China, specifically in the 9th century, a girl receives gifts from a magical fish to attend a festival. And, well, Germany, 1812. Collected by the Brothers Grimm, this dark version is the basis for the Cinderella tale we all know today. Well, of course, in 1950, animated version of Cinderella came out by Disney, and it's still the classic that I think children should watch. It's a beautifully animated fairy tale. However, yes, maybe stay clear of the disturbing original. At least wait until your kids are old. Jesus Christ. There's also a very heartwarming Czech adaptation. I am going to risk and pronounce it. Tri oríšky pro popelku. Yes, I know. I know. Hit me. I'm not I mean, I take the risk pronouncing stuff that I know nothing about, But since I'm a linguist, I like it. I mean, correct me, please. Correct my pronunciation. I mean, I've recently been to Czech Republic, and guys, those guys sound funny. I love it. I really do. They're very soft-spoken people, soft language. I think people who speak Interslavic might understand Czech, actually. So yeah, it's very soft and curious language that I enjoyed listening to whilst in Czech Republic. So yeah, that was an experience on its own. But yes, this adaptation is of 1973. It's a very cute fairy tale with a dash of humor, and it's quite original. It's very soft, very gentle. I highly recommend. I will put the link in the description. I think this fairy tale is out on YouTube. You can hear some Czech language. Set in a wintry Bohemian forest, it's beautifully shot indeed. And in this tale, Cinderella receives three magic hazelnuts instead of a fairy godmother. A very active and clever, rebellious girl, even. That's a very interesting take on the fairy tale, mind you. Highly recommend. In 2015, Kenneth Branagh comes up with this beautifully shot fairy tale. Yes, it's another Disney's adaptation, but it's, in my opinion, you can throw a rock at me if you want, because yeah, Disney's adaptations aren't really that good, especially recently. But this one, in my opinion, was done rather well. And Kenneth Branagh's direction, it's very, again, I want to say the word soft all the time during this video. I don't know why. We're talking about the disturbing fairy tale origins. There's nothing soft about it, but we're gonna get to the gruesome part, don't worry. If you want to skip to the gruesome and disturbing part, I mean, go to this time marker here. I've actually had the pleasure of seeing Kenneth Branagh in person on one of the film sets that I worked on. It was an experience. First thoughts in my head, Gilderoy Lockhart. But no, he's more than that. He's so much more than that. And one of my favorite roles is Frankenstein. I hope you know the film, the one with Helena Bonham Carter. If you know, you know. I wouldn't call it necessarily disturbing, but it has its gruesome moments. Tell me what you think about the film, by the way. And also, do you consider Frankenstein's story disturbing? That's a food for thought here. The comment section is open. A visually stunning update that honors the original while adding character depth. Cinderella remains kind, but more emotionally aware and morally strong. But now, a debut feature by Emily Blitchfield. I hope I pronounced it right. The Ugly Stepsister 2025. Why is it important to mention? I'm not just here for the hype. I mean, I took my sweet time watching the film, pausing it every now and then to take notes, and I ended up throwing them all away because no notes are needed here. I'm no film critic, it's just my raw emotion. And let me tell you this, it is a well done, disturbing movie. Let me tell you why. This one is set in grimly magical pseudo 19th century kingdom. We have Elvira, who is raised by her ambitious stepmother, Rebecca. That's already an interesting twist and tale because this is not about Cinderella per se. We have Prince Julian, whom Elvira really wants to marry, and, well, I don't really want to spoil the film for you, but we follow Elvira's psychological and physical transformation, contrasted starkly with her elegant and cruel stepsister Agnes, who is the Cinderella in this story. Close ups of surgical horror in this film are They're portrayed in this excruciating detail and realism. Yeah, you get your fair share of body horror in this one, and not just self mutilation like in the original Grimm's tale, but also mutilation performed by other people on Elvira, the poor girl. She is basically, in my not so humble opinion, going mad in this story. Mad, I tell you. And you can't help but feel sorry for her and actually root for her to get out of this madness. But yeah, disturbing, very much so. It surpasses the original Grimm's tale, in my opinion. And we can see the body image critique here, but I don't want to get into that because, yes, it's obvious. It's obvious that this is a strong critique on how society treats women in particular in regard of how women should or should not look. I understand it's very blatantly obvious here, but we aren't here for that. No, no, no. We are here for the gruesome parts. And there's a lot. Vomit, maggots, severed body parts, and unsettling medical implements evoke visceral reactions. Reviewers and audiences report scenes so intense they felt nauseated. Visually arresting, with gothic fairy tale atmospheres, we have lavish costumes, cinematography that is spot on, and inspiring tribute, in my opinion, to the original horrifying fairy tale. Thank you guys so much for watching. It really means a lot that you're here. I'm sorry about this camera angle. I'm still trying to figure out how to use my various supplies and devices. I'm not really good at it, but I got myself a new chair and it feels good, but I need to get used to it. Before I let you all go, make sure to check out the playlist I mentioned earlier, and also, please don't forget that on Amazon, Misanthropically Inclined awaits your opinions, judgments, comments, concerns. Just kidding, don't be concerned. It has its fair share of disturbing depressiveness, but it's a poetry collection. Yes, the prices have been lowered a wee bit, so but it's a fair price for a fair quality piece of work. So don't forget about that as well. Feel free to support me in this manner if you can, if you'd like to. Ebooks all the way too for your comfort. And meanwhile, please make sure to subscribe for more interesting and unnerving content, and give this video a boost, of course, in the form of an erect thumb. I shall see you all as soon as possible. Take good care of yourselves and your loved ones, and don't cut off your toes just so that you can fit into a shoe. Okay? Cheers, guys. I felt like this would be an important message because there is ultimately a moral to the story, but more so to the recent adaptation, The Ugly Stepsister, attempting to reshape yourself to meet society's so-called beauty standards or ideals causes far more damage than true acceptance ever would. And besides, if you really have to go through so much bother just to be noticed by a man, maybe he's not really worth it if he can't see and appreciate you just the way you originally are. Thank you for watching.